Okay, here's a question to start us off. What if there's like a forgotten liquid inside you? Something pulsing away silently that holds the key to, I don't know, mental clarity, energy, maybe even spiritual insight?
It sounds a bit out there, doesn't it? But that's exactly what we're diving into today.
Right, like sci-fi or some ancient myth. But what if it's just biology, something we've overlooked?
Precisely. This deep dive explores this really fascinating blend of, ancient wisdom and actually emerging modern science. Our sources talk about this hidden fluid right at the base of your spine.
Hidden fluid.
Yeah, and they suggest it's not just passive. It's actively trying to, heal you, basically, boost vitality. And crucially, they talk about how you can actually tap into its power.
Okay, so our mission for you in this deep dive is really to pull out the most important stuff from these sources. We want to give you a kind of shortcut to understanding this pretty profound idea and, maybe more importantly, how it might actually apply in your life.
Let's get into it.
Okay, so let's unpack this first part. A lot of us, we deal with things we just accept as normal, right? Like that constant brain fog or being exhausted even when you sleep loads.
Yeah, or that insomnia that just won't quit.
Yeah.
Or sometimes just feeling heavy, emotionally heavy for no clear reason.
Exactly. And what's really interesting is that these insights we've gathered suggest the problem isn't out there. It might be linked to a kind of subtle blockage of an internal flow right there at the base of your own body.
And this is where it gets really fascinating because ancient traditions and modern understanding seem to be pointing at the same thing, more or less.
How so?
Well, the sources describe something like a hidden heart or maybe a subtle engine down in the pelvis. Not a physical organ, obviously, but like a functional energetic center.
Okay, an energetic center.
Yeah, and it's meant to gently push this light-filled fluid upward, all the way to the spine to the head.
Light-filled fluid.
That's the term they use. And when this inner tide rises, they claim something really profound shifts internally. Thoughts get clearer, the body feels lighter, emotions kind of settle down. They present it as like a lost piece of our biology.
And the ancient views on this, they knew about this.
Apparently, yes. For centuries, people in esoteric schools, inner alchemy traditions, they knew about this force. They called it things like the subtle elixir or the secret wine.
The secret wine, I like that.
Yeah, believing it rose from the base to, nourish the higher centers. You've probably heard that alchemical saying, what rises purifies, what descends anchors.
Vaguely, yeah.
Well, the idea here is that it wasn't about stuff in a lab. It was about the human body as the lab, a sacred one.
Okay, so the body is the laboratory.
Exactly. And the spine wasn't just, holding you up. It was seen as a channel of vibrational refinement where the raw becomes essence, basically. They even called this fluid liquid spirit, believed it could wake up dormant parts of the mind, sharpen your perception, even cleanse like invisible energetic gunk.
Energetic gunk. Okay.
And the practices to activate it were often really quiet, internal, passed down subtly. The core idea, which we'll get into, was always feeling before understanding, breathing before knowing. It starts in the body,
Right, not in the head analyzing it.
Precisely. Even in the Vedanta lineage, they talk about the flow of subtle prana through spinal channel, waking up awareness. And the sacrum, that bone at the base, was considered the crucible or the gate of life where this impulse starts.
Okay, so a really rich history there in ancient wisdom. But today, how does this connect, or does it?
This is where it gets really compelling. Because what sounded maybe purely metaphorical or spiritual is now actually getting serious attention in, modern neurology.
You mean like brain science?
Exactly. We're talking about cerebrospinal fluid, CSF, that clear fluid that cushions your brain and spinal cord.
Okay, I know CSF. It's protective, right?
Protective, yes, but maybe much more. So how does the ancient idea line up with the science? Well, back in 2019, the Yale School of Medicine did this groundbreaking study. They used high-precision MRI.
Okay.
And they found something amazing. CSF doesn't just sit there. It moves in these rhythmic waves. And guess what they synchronize with?
Let me guess. Breathing.
Slow, deep breathing, precisely. And the kicker, these waves are vital for clearing out toxic waste from the brain, specifically beta amyloid.
Beta amyloid, isn't that the stuff linked to Alzheimer's?
The very same.
Yeah.
So the implication is huge. Slow, deep breathing isn't just calming you down. It seems to literally activate the brain's own self-cleaning system.
Wow, an internal brainwash activated by breath. That's actually incredible. Is there more? Does it affect how we feel, think?
Well, there's other research from Harvard Medical School led by Mauro Zapode. They take it further. They suggest CSS isn't just nourishing, it's also informational.
Informational, what does that mean?
It means it could actually influence our emotional states, our neurochemistry, even our perception. They've called it the messenger of consciousness.
Messenger of consciousness. Okay, that's a big claim.
It is.
Yeah.
Because it flows constantly, base of the spine up to the skull, bathing glands like the pineal and pituitary.
Yeah.
The idea is it helps harmonize the whole neuroendocrine system. It's like this bridge between our basic nervous system and maybe higher states of awareness.
So we've got this incredible fluid, known to the ancients, now being studied by science.
Okay.
The million-dollar question, how do we actually activate?
Right. And the core principle, according to these sources, is really simple but profound. It boils down to feeling before understanding, breathing before knowing.
Okay, feel first, understand later.
Exactly. This isn't presented as like suggestion or placebo. It's framed as living biology activated by subtle awareness. The practice is for the body, they stress, not the mind trying to figure it all out.
Makes sense. So is there a specific method?
Yes, the sources detail a kind of 7-minute ritual. It starts simply, lying down, ideally on a firm surface, eyes closed, and you just rest your attention gently on your fascia, tail dome.
Just focus on the fascia.
Yeah. The first step is just listening, allowing stillness, noticing if there's like a really subtle pulse there. No forcing, just noticing.
Okay. Listening to the tailbone, then what?
Then you bring in the breath using a very specific rhythm. Inhale for 5 seconds, hold the breath gently for 5 seconds, and then exhale slowly for 5 seconds.
5-5-5.
Yeah, the 5-5-5 rhythm. They call it a breathing code.
Okay.
Apparently it opens the neuroquantum frequency of vibrational reprogramming.
Whoa, okay. Neuroquantum frequency, that sounds intense. What does that mean in practice?
Yeah, it's quite a term. I think it's their way of saying it deeply aligns your energy. Like it subtly retunes your body's system, recalibrates it to a more optimal state, vibrationally speaking.
Okay, retunes the system. Got it. So breathing 5-5-5. Anything else?
Yes. As that breathing pattern settles in, you introduce a tiny muscular action, a microcontract. It's a very gentle, almost imperceptible contraction and release of the perineum muscles.
Oh, perineum. Okay.
And you do it in sync with the breath. The sources suggest this tiny contraction activates what they call the sacral pacemaker.
Sacral pacemaker, like a heart pacemaker.
Not literally, no. Conceptually. They describe it as a biomechanical center that acts like a very subtle vibrational pump. It just gently encourages the CSF to move. There's no straining involved. It's all about the rhythm.
Gentle pumps.
Yeah.
And then there's visualization too, right?
Yes, to kind of enhance it. You imagine a golden thread rising from the center of your sacrum.
Golden thread.
Yeah, moving up the spine like a line of liquid light, passing through the vertebrae, through the heart area, the throat, and finally resting at the center of your head.
Okay.
And they'd say this isn't just wishful thinking. It's presented as a vibrational command that wakes up these sort of forgotten pathways in the nervous system. It's like your internal map back to your original blueprint.
Your internal map. Wow. Okay, so the golden thread reaches the head. What then?
Then the final step is shifting your awareness. You bring your attention to the nape of your neck, right where the spine meets the skull.
Okay, that little hollow spot.
Exactly. And you imagine a kind of cavity there slowly opening like a receptive dome. They call this the cerebral gate of integration.
Cerebral gate.
Yeah, this is supposedly where the fluid enters to bathe the higher brain centers. This is also the point where supposedly the mind naturally starts to quiet down and the body begins to communicate. Well, as the sources put it, in tides, in pulses, in codes.
In codes. It sounds quite poetic, but also very physical. What kind of effects do people supposedly feel?
Well, the sources suggest both immediate feelings and also long-term shifts. Initially, they say the body might start to awaken what they call ancestral memories.
Ancestral memories, like past lives.
Not necessarily specific recollections, no. More like a deeper innate body intelligence resurfacing.
Yeah.
Or maybe just returning to an original state of being. It might show up as new physical sensations, maybe a lightness in the skull or warmth at the base of the spine or a subtle vibration in the chest.
So physical sensations as the system wakes up.
Kind of, yeah. It's your system, they say, returning to its original design. And over time, with consistent practice, the reported changes are more significant.
Like what?
Things like naturally sharper focus, a kind of slowing down of the whole emotional field so you're less reactive. Renewed energy levels, maybe even noticeable before breakfast. It fundamentally shifts your focus from always searching outside for answers or fixes to cultivating within.
Cultivating within.
Yeah. This practice supposedly activates what they call the channel of internal translation, that invisible line connecting the sacrum to the back of the head, the occipital bone. The core message really is you stop pushing life and you start allowing it to flow through you.
Okay, this sounds really interesting theoretically, but what about someone actually doing this? Does it work? You mentioned a story, Caleb.
Yes, Caleb's story from the sources is quite powerful. He's 36, stable life, but described this constant, like, invisible feeling of always being out of alignment, just a background hum of wrongness.
I think many people can relate to that feeling.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
A heaviness no doctor could find a reason for. He tried therapy, guided meditations, all the trendy breathing stuff, but he said he always felt like an observer, never truly in his own experience.
Watching himself go through the motions.
Exactly. Then, his turning point. He found this handwritten phrase somewhere. The tide doesn't rise when you think it rises when you listen.
When you listen. That connects back to the first step, right?
It does, and it resonated deeply. It led him to research this whole idea, the internal fluid, the pulse at the base of the spine. And that very night, he decided to try the practice. The 5-5-5 breathing, the gentle contractions, focusing on the coccyx.
And what happened?
Well, his body resisted at first, he said, mind jumping around. But by the fourth breath cycle, something just shifted profoundly. Not a big shiver or some dramatic emotion, but he described it as a forgotten part of him starting to rise up.
A forgotten part?
Yeah. And he just started crying. But not tears of sadness or pain. He described it like someone cleansing, emptying out, making space to exist fully.
Wow. Like a release.
A deep release, it seems. And the impact wasn't just in that moment. In the following days, he noticed real changes. He didn't feel the need to constantly distract himself from silence anymore.
That's huge.
It is. His focus came back naturally. He started sleeping deeply again. The world just stopped feeling quite so heavy. And this whole transformation, as he tells it, started in this totally overlooked place inside him. A bone he'd never thought about. A pulse no one taught him. A river that, as the sources claim, was always trying to rise.
That's a really compelling story. But, trying something new like this, people hit roadblocks, right? What about doubt?
Absolutely. The sources are very clear on this. Doubt is almost inevitable. It often masks itself as rational thought, doesn't it? Like, am I doing this right? Or I don't feel anything yet. This is probably nonsense.
Yeah, the inner critic pipes up.
Exactly. Yeah. And they call this impatient expectation the first real obstacle, because that anxiety, that need for immediate results, it can actually sabotage the whole process. The body, they explained, doesn't respond well to anxiety. It responds to quiet repetition, to surrender.
Quiet repetition, not anxious striving. That makes. And what about expectations? People might expect, fireworks or visions.
No, that's another really common misconception they address. We often look for the spectacular, right?
Yeah.
Tremors, bright lights, big emotional rushes.
Proof.
But the sources emphasize the real signs are often much more subtle. Things like unexpected pauses in your stream of thoughts, just moments of quiet you didn't have before. Or nights of sleep that suddenly require no effort. Or just a clarity that enters where once there was only noise. The real miracle, they suggest, isn't some big flashy event. It's a return to your natural state, your natural structure.
Structure, meaning a balance, alignment.
Yeah, I think so. Internal coherence. And this ties into another key principle. Consistency is more powerful than intensity.
Right. Better to do it regularly than super intensely once in a while.
Exactly. They literally say one well-executed breath cycle done in silence and complete surrender is worth more than 20 minutes of pushing and straining with tense expectation.
Just one good breath cycle.
That's the idea. The core message is really about trusting the process. Even if you don't feel anything dramatic, even if it seems imperceptible to your conscious mind, the energy you've moved just by doing the practice with intention has already started to shift your internal field. It's already activating subtle codes, reopening pathways.
So you don't need to micromanage it.
Not at all. Your role isn't control. It's simply to create this space for it to happen and to trust that this inner river, even if you can't see it or feel it strongly yet, always knows the way back.
Always knows the way back. So wrapping this up, what's the big takeaway for everyone listening?
Well, we've taken this deep dive into what feels like a really profound but often overlooked aspect of our own biology. Something backed by, surprisingly, both ancient wisdom and cutting-edge science.
Yeah, this idea of an inner tide, the CSF flow.
Exactly. And we've explored how a really quite simple, subtle practice might help restore balance, vitality, clarity, just by activating this natural process within us.
It's not just another technique, is it?
That's what the sources suggest. They frame it as more like vibrational reprogramming, something that works not just on surface symptoms, but goes deeper, reaching the very structure that holds your patterns in place. It aims to rewrite things from the ground up, you could say.
Wow. So maybe the final thought for everyone to consider is this. What would it actually mean for you to truly allow your own body, this deep intelligence within, to gently guide your healing and transformation?
Yeah, to trust that hidden river inside, trusting that it knows the way home, that's always trying to bring you back to your natural state of balance and clarity.
It's a powerful thought, isn't it? Might just change how you approach, everything, really. Your own well-being, definitely.